You're doing everything that used to work. Eating less, moving more, but no matter what you do, the scale won't budge because your hormones have fundamentally changed in menopause. Today, I'm going to share the strategic approach you can use to lose 20 plus pounds in menopause. Welcome to the Fit and Fulfilled Show. If you're a busy professional woman who wants to finally prioritize your health and happiness, this is the place to be. I'm your host, Soraya Russell, certified macronutrition coach, mindset coach, and lifestyle transformation coach. And each week, I share practical strategies to help you build sustainable habits, boost your energy, become obsessed with what you see when you look in the mirror, and feel confident and strong in your body, all without feeling stressed, burned out, or guilty. Let's dive in. So, this episode is very special to me because the majority of the clients we work with are either perimenopausal, menopausal, or postmenopausal. So everything I'm sharing really does work because it's worked for hundreds of my clients between 35 to 65 and even into their 70s. So the first thing we have to analyze is, what does realistic weight loss look like when you are menopausal? There's something called the 0.5 to 0.7% rule, which I share with everyone. This helps determine about how much weight you can expect to lose on a regular basis on average if you're being about 80% consistency. This rule still applies with menopause, but sometimes hormones can make this process a little bit slower. But if you follow the steps I'm going to give you, it'll still work, because losing weight slowly and steadily is better than not losing it at all or doing things that just don't work for menopause. So this rule says that you can expect to lose 0.5 to 0.7% of your body weight on average on a weekly basis if you're being about 80% consistent with the things I'm going to share. So if you're a woman who's 180 pounds, 0.5% of 180 is zero point 0.9. 0.7% of 180 is 1.26. This means you can expect to lose zero point 0.9 to 1.26 pounds per week on average. Not 2 pounds a week, not 20 pounds a month. 0.9 to 1.26 if you are, say, 180 pounds. So that's about 3.6 to 5 pounds a month you can expect to lose if you're being very consistent, which means if you want to lose 20 pounds, it'll take between 4 and 6 months. That might not sound ideal for you. It might not sound like the best case scenario. But I always like to share that when you're menopausal, the impatience and the rush to lose the weight is going to put you in a bad position, because you're going to choose methods that are very restrictive, things that further damage your metabolism and your hormones. So maybe you will lose weight very fast, but you're going to gain it back even faster, and it's going to continue to be harder to lose. You want to lose it and keep it off for life. And if you want to do so, it's going to require a slow, steady, and sustainable approach that doesn't negatively impact your metabolism. So why is weight loss slower in menopause? So first reason is that estrogen decline leads to your metabolic rate decreasing by about 2 to 5% per year. This basically means you're not burning as many calories as you did when you were younger, even though you might be doing all of the same things. Your body is metabolically designed to hold on to more fat during this transition to kind of keep you safe. And so the way to reverse that, which we'll talk about in a little bit, is to make sure you're prioritizing building and maintaining muscle mass. Because if you do this, you won't experience fat gain. But if you're not prioritizing muscle mass, you will see a difference in your body composition, and you will see more fat, especially around your stomach area. Insulin sensitivity also decreases, which means your body has a harder time processing carbs efficiently. So this is why I see a lot of people thinking that cutting out carbs or going low carbs is a solution, but it's not. It's really just about carb timing and the types of carbs you're consuming to ensure that your body is still processing those carbs most efficiently, even in menopause. So our clients who are menopausal are still eating pasta, still eating cookies, all that good stuff, but they're timing things appropriately and they're having the right balance of carbs so their body's able to process it efficiently. So I know all this can sound a bit daunting, but the mistake I see a lot of women make in menopause is they look for the lowest calorie diet to try and lose weight fast because nothing is working. But you have to realize during menopause, your metabolism is slowed down and your hormones are out of balance. So if you're doing things like cutting your calories super low, that's going to further imbalance your hormones and further slow your metabolism. So it's not the long-term solution. It's going to make things worse. Slow, steady, and sustainable is the name of the game when you're trying to lose weight in menopause. So here are the steps I want you to take to basically achieve your weight loss goals in menopause. The first is you need to recalculate how many calories you need to be eating for weight loss. So say that at 25, when you were 5'5", 200 pounds, you were eating 2,000 calories a day to maintain your weight. If you're now 60, 5'5", 200 pounds, and you're still eating 2,000 calories a day, you're actually going to end up gaining weight. The reason is your metabolic rate decreases over time, which means that your maintenance calories, the amount of calories you need to maintain your weight, fundamentally decrease simply because you've gotten older. So if you're eating the same amount of calories, you're going to end up being in a calorie surplus, hence you're going to gain weight. So all you have to do is simply recalculate what your new maintenance and calorie deficit calories are going to be so that you can make sure that you're eating in alignment with where you need to be to achieve your goals. So I actually have a free course that teaches you exactly how to calculate your calorie deficit needs based on your height, weight, age, activity level, all that good stuff. The free course is down below. Take that, watch it. It's very quick. It'll teach you how to calculate the calories you need to consume to lose weight in menopause. The second thing that's a non-negotiable is strength training. Reason being, most women lose about 3 to 8% of their muscle mass after 30 each decade if they're not doing anything to reverse it. And when I say reverse it, I mean lifting weights, doing things to retain the muscle mass. When you lose muscle mass, fat's going to replace it. Muscle also burns 6 to 7 calories per day at rest versus fat, which only burns 2 to 3 calories. What this means is if you're strength training, right, you might not burn as many calories during the strength training session compared to cardio. So if you did a 1-mile run, you're going to burn more calories than you did if you did a 1-hour gym session because you're basically going at a fast pace, doing a set period of cardio for a long period of time versus weightlifting or taking breaks in between your weightlifting. So the difference here is, yes, you may burn more calories during the run than you do during the weightlifting session, but because muscle is more metabolically active than fat, it means that when you build muscle through strength training, maybe you don't burn as many calories during the workout, but all day long you're going to be burning more calories simply because you have more muscle on your body. So strength training is a more efficient way to build muscle, boost your metabolism, which are all helpful when you're going through menopause. Now, if you don't want to go to a gym, you don't have to. You can get the same benefits from working out at home with just 3 pairs of dumbbells. I usually recommend one that's lighter for exercises that you're not strong in. For example, if you have weaker upper body, maybe a 5-pound dumbbell for that, then maybe a 10-pound for things that you're a bit stronger in, and maybe a 15 or 20-pound for something that you're a bit stronger in. I find that most women are stronger in their lower body than their upper body if they don't already work out. So that's why having 3 dumbbells, make sure that you're challenging each of your body parts with the different types of exercises that you're doing. You also want to focus on no more than 4 exercises per strength training session. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. So if you can get a quality lift in 3 to 4 times per week, that's going to get you much further than trying to lift weights every single day without any rest. So if you're doing upper body, for example, this can be tricep dips, it can be modified push-ups, it can be shoulder presses, and it can be chest presses. That's all you need. And your strength training session should only take you about 45 minutes to an hour. You don't need to be working out for 2 hours at a time. You really just want to keep it quick, time efficient, and effective. So we actually had a client last year who came to us. She was 57 years old when she started working with us in our program. And her issue was that when she was in her 20s and 30s, she did a lot of running. She had run half marathons before. She was very, very active. But at 57, she was like, I'm still active, but I can't seem to lose the belly fat. I'm gaining weight even though I'm moving frequently. And she was like, I don't know what I need to be doing differently. She was really, really frustrated and really unhappy with her body. When she joined us, we switched her workout routine. We said, hey, we know you like to run, we know you like cardio, but let's switch to be more strength training and a little bit of cardio. So we started having her do 3 strength training sessions per week and running 2 times a week for fun, because that's just something she wanted to do. We also then switched up her nutrition routine because she didn't really have a set nutrition protocol because she always was able to just keep weight off. So we adjusted her nutrition to be more protein, more fiber, more hormone-friendly foods. We focused on the plate rule where half her plate was vegetables and her fruits, a fourth was protein, a fourth was whole grain carbs. We timed her carbs as well to be more so around her workouts so her body processed them more efficiently. She joined us last year in October. Since then, she has lost 25 pounds at 57 years old. And she looks better than she did, in her opinion, in her 30s because she's a lot more lean and toned. Because even when she was a runner, she wasn't strength training, so she wasn't building muscle, and her nutrition was not optimized to have that lean toned look. So now she looks in the mirror and she's like, dang, I love the way I look in my clothes. My arms are toned. My legs are toned. I've lost weight, and I understand what I need to be doing in this phase of my life to maintain it. That's the beauty of having a menopausal friendly, hormonal-friendly approach to weight loss. The next thing you want to focus on is prioritizing protein. This is extremely important during menopause because protein helps you preserve muscle mass, which is very important as estrogen declines. Protein has the highest TEF, and TEF stands for thermic effective food. Essentially, foods with a higher TEF, it means that you burn more calories when you digest them. And yes, you do burn calories when you digest food. So if I were to digest chicken breast, for example, right? We don't all love chicken breast, but it's an example, versus me digesting rice, I'm going to simply burn more calories just by eating the chicken breast than I would by eating the rice because protein in the chicken has a higher thermic effect of food. So simply by eating more protein, you will burn more calories. Protein is more satiating than other macronutrients as well, which means when you consume it, you will stay full longer. And I find a lot of women in menopause have more random cravings and desires for certain foods, and it's typically because they're not getting enough protein. If you increase your protein intake, you will stop craving those sweets and salty foods at 2 p.m. at nighttime, which will make it much easier for you to stay consistent when it comes to achieving your weight loss goals. Ideally, you want to aim for 0.8 times your body weight in protein. So say that you are 200 pounds, that's about 160 grams of protein. And the best way to split it up is to split it up between meals. So if you're having about 3 meals per day, that's about 50 grams of protein per meal. And also if you're having snacks, you can do about maybe 45 grams of protein per meal, and the rest will come from that 1 or 2 snacks. The next thing you want to focus on is smart carb timing for insulin resistance. So what happens is as you become menopausal, your insulin sensitivity tends to decrease, which means your body has a harder time processing carbs, but there's things you can do to strategically time the carbs so they are processed more efficiently. So insulin sensitivity is higher earlier on in the day, so you want to front load your carbs to be earlier in the day. So for example, for breakfast, have some toast. For lunch, maybe have some bread on a sandwich, and then make your dinner a little bit lower carbs because you're going to be going to bed shortly. So this is going to help you because your body will process carbs more efficiently when your insulin sensitivity is higher, which happens to be earlier on in the day. Another thing that's universal for everybody is your body processes carbs best around times that you are most active because when you're active, your body uses those carbs for energy. So another best time to process and eat carbs is right before a workout. So for example, if you work out midday, you want to have your carbs in the morning for breakfast because it's earlier on. Then before your workout, you want to have some more carbs so that you process them during your workout. And then as the day gets later, you want to have a little bit less carbs. So for example, if I'm going to do a leg day, I might have some toast and a banana. I might have some Greek yogurt and fruit. I might have a smoothie with fruit. And then in the evening, you want to focus on more high protein foods and healthy fats for muscle recovery. So things like chicken, tempeh, tofu, avocados, olive oils, nut butters, things like that are going to be better for later on in the evening. So our program is completely personalized, and one of the things we do for our menopausal clients is we adjust their macro ratios. So for our clients who are not yet menopausal, they might have regular amounts of carbs, higher protein, moderate fat. But for our menopausal clients, we typically do more high protein, moderate carbs, and then a pretty decent amount of fat. So because menopausal women have a harder time processing carbs, we still include carbs, plant carbs for our menopausal clients, but we increase the fats a little bit because that's a nutrient that your body processes pretty well in comparison to carbohydrates. The next thing you want to focus on as a menopausal woman is the right forms of cardio that are not going to spike your cortisol levels. And my favorite for this is walking. Reason being, things that are high intensity, like running, HIIT, CrossFit even, those things are very high intensity. And so that is going to cause you to have your cortisol levels spiked. And higher cortisol levels is going to lead to higher stress. It's going to lead to you holding on to more fat on your body. So we want to limit that by focusing on more gentle forms of cardio. Cardio also improves insulin sensitivity without spiking your appetite. So if you've ever gone for a walk versus a run, you're not that hungry after a walk. But if you run, you're like ravenous. You're like, I need to eat. Where's my food? You want to eat everything in sight. So walking is just a great way to manage your insulin sensitivity, boost your metabolism, burn more calories without you being significantly more hungry. So ideally, you want to walk 7,000 or more steps per day. If you're very sedentary right now, you want to work your way up to it. So that could look like if you're only walking about 2,000 steps a day now, next week aim for 3,000, then 4,000, you'll work your way up to it on average. I recommend if you're new to walking, split it up so that it's not too hard on your body because it's going to take your body a bit of time to get adjusted. So maybe do a morning walk for 15 minutes, then an afternoon walk, and then an evening walk. Something else that's helpful is walking after your meals. This is a great way to schedule in your walks. You can kind of tie eating with walking. Also, walking helps with digestion. So, like one of my friends, she'll say, let's go for a digestive walk, which I love because walking helps you digest your food better, helps you process your food better, and it's a great way to get your steps in because you're tying your meals with walking. I always tell clients, tie one habit you already have solidified, like eating, with a new habit. So, say every time I eat a meal, I go for a walk. Every time I sit at my desk, I drink my water. Things like that help you create new habits because you're tying them to something that already exists. The next thing you want to focus on is sleep optimization. So, when you are experiencing menopause, you deal with things like hot flashes and night sweats, which can affect your sleep quality. Sleep deprivation can also increase cortisol levels, make you more stressed out, make you crave more salty and sweet foods because you're up later at night. So, mastering your sleep is a big hack to losing weight during menopause. So, some hacks to help you get more restful sleep is number one, keep your room at a cool temperature. I find that 65 to 68 degrees is a good place to be, but adjust to what feels good for you. Because the cooler it is, the less that you're going to be sweating at night and dealing with hot flashes. So that's one thing. The second thing you want to do is try to get cooling pillows or a cooling mattress if you can, which will also help you not feel as hot when it's time to go to bed. I also find that many women who struggle to get to sleep sometimes are on their phones or on screens right before bed, and this can disrupt you mentally and also disrupt you physically as well. So I recommend putting your phone in a different room if you struggle with being on your phone, texting, looking at social media before bed. Put your phone in a different room, put it on Do Not Disturb. And if you're like, well, I got to get up at a certain time in the morning, get an actual alarm clock. That way you can still get up on time, but the screen is not stopping you from getting to bed. And I recommend getting rid of the screens, putting it away about 30 minutes to an hour before bed. This number one helps you not have so much on your mind because you haven't looked at something right before bed. And number two, your eyes are not so alert from a bright screen, so they have a much easier time getting to sleep. So here are some mistakes to avoid if you want to lose 20 plus pounds during menopause. The first is doing the same approaches that work for you in your 20s and early 30s. It's not going to work anymore. If you just did a random diet, cut your calories, cut carbs, and lost weight easily, that doesn't work the same in your 50s and 60s because you are menopausal and your hormones have fundamentally changed. You need a different approach. The second mistake is doing excessive cardio and avoiding lifting weights. And understand if you've never lifted weights before, it can be intimidating, which is why in our program we create personalized strength training workouts for our clients to start with where they are now. This can be going to the gym to do their workouts or doing it at home. All you need if you're at home is a couple pairs of dumbbells to get started. We have some clients who just start with strength training and walking all at once. But either way, if you are in menopause, it's going to be very important for you to strength train and lift weights to build muscle and reduce fat. Mistake number three is not addressing sleep and stress. We've had some clients who were doing everything right before working with us, but they weren't getting enough sleep and they were chronically stressed. Once we fixed those two factors, the weight just started falling off. So I'm telling you, if you're thinking, okay, nutrition's the thing I need to focus on, exercise is the thing I need to focus on, those things don't matter as much if you're not getting proper sleep because you're probably going to be snacking at night. You're going to be more stressed out. Your cortisol levels are going to be higher. So really make sure you're prioritizing stress and sleep management as well. Mistake number four is expecting the same timeline as you did when you were younger. When you're menopausal, weight loss is going to be slower. But does that matter if you still get to your goal weight and are able to maintain it? Would you rather lose the weight fast and gain it right back, or would you rather lose it in a longer period of time, but keep it off for the rest of your life and know how to maintain those results? I would choose the second option every single day. So come to terms with the fact that it might take a little bit longer, but be okay with that, knowing you'll be able to maintain your results. Mistake number five is trying to do it alone when you know you need hormonal specific and menopausal specific advice, support, and guidance. So like I said earlier, most of our clients are pre, post, or menopausal. And so we specialize in working with women in this phase of life. So stop trying to piece things together on the internet because one person might say something that applies to you, but someone else might say something that doesn't apply to you. It wastes time and energy trying to piece information together when you can have a personalized approach that's built specifically for you. So thank you so much for tuning into the Fit and Fulfilled show today. I hope you walked away with practical strategies you can use to start feeling more confident, fulfilled, and energized in your personal and professional life. And if you found this helpful in absolutely any way, I ask that you please subscribe and share it with a friend that you think would find this helpful so they can benefit from this information as well. And if you want to lose 20 to 50 pounds and maintain it without cutting out your favorite foods, then I invite you to apply for our coaching program, the Fit and Fulfilled Academy. In the Academy, we help busy professional women like you by providing the coaching, guidance, and support with nutrition, fitness, and mindset to achieve lasting weight loss. All the details are down below. Next week, we're diving into a brand new topic that you're not going to want to miss. But until then, remember you deserve to feel as confident in your body as you do in your career. Take care.